One of the challenges we have today is not having enough information, it's having too much information in too many different places. Well, QuickBooks has come through with a way to help us a little bit with this, with something called QuickBooks Contact Sync. It will actually synchronize your contacts between QuickBooks and Outlook 2000, 2003, or 2007, also Outlook XP. It will only do a few of the lists, it won't do everything, but customers and jobs, vendors, and your other list can be synchronized back and forth. In order to do this, you need to launch it from QuickBooks, and you need to install the QuickBooks Outlook Sync tool, which is a free little piece of software that it'll download, and it's actually going to add a toolbar button or a ribbon button, depending on which option you have, to Outlook itself. Ultimately, you'll be able to sync back and forth both ways, but when you first start out, you have to get your QuickBooks information into Outlook, and that's what I'm doing right now. I've downloaded the tool, started Outlook, and this is the first screen that I see. I need to go through Setup in Outlook itself. You also have to have QuickBooks open in the background and logged on with an administrator account. After it's originally synced up, it doesn't have to be an administrator, but to originally do it, you do have to have admin privileges. So what I will do is go to the bottom of this box and click Setup. And that asks me which ones I want to synchronize, and I will select those. Just the one, not my other one. And I'll say Next. Which list do I want to include? Customers, customers and jobs, and or vendors. These are checkboxes, so you can choose any one or all of them. Then I'll say Next. Anything I do not want to include. New names in the personal category. New names marked as private. These are two Outlook features where you can actually mark things as private or as personal. In this case, I'll say no. If I have those in Outlook, I do not want them shared with QuickBooks because then everybody else in the company would have them. The next thing you need to do is to do what's called field mapping, where we tell Outlook which one is equal to that in QuickBooks. So we can see we have company to company, email to email, phone to phone, but you can see why this is important because they're not exactly the same name. In QuickBooks, the field is phone, and in Outlook, it's going to synchronize it with the business phone field. So if that's not true, if that's not what you want to do, click on the drop down on the right, and you can choose a different phone number. Outlook actually gives you several different phone number options. So maybe I want the QuickBooks phone number to equal their mobile phone or a primary phone, something like that. We'll go ahead and select primary phone, and I think you can see how that works. You shouldn't have to do too much customization unless you've created custom fields in Outlook. I'll go ahead and click on Next. This is the same thing for the vendor field, so I'll click Next. What happens if we have a conflict, if there are two things and they're kind of fighting over each other? Should the Outlook data win, or should the QuickBook data win? Since I tend to keep my contacts in Outlook more up to date than I do in QuickBooks, I'm going to say Outlook should win. The real good option is to just say, let me decide. You get to see each one, and then you get to choose which one you want. That's all there is to it. We'll click on Save, and then we'll click on Sync Now, and watch while it synchronizes the data. It's going to keep track of this for us by saying it's synchronizing Outlook contacts with QuickBooks. So far, nothing has been done, but you can see that it's going to say how many were matched and how many were unmatched from all of the lists that we had. Once it's all finished, you click on Close. From this point, you can go up to your QuickBooks Contact Sync, which is what it actually added for you. Click on the drop down and you can synchronize your contact, set your preferences, or check for updates. Or you can just click the Synchronize Contacts button on the top of the toolbar. If you're concerned about why you're not seeing any contacts in this particular list, that was kind of for my own personal use. Remember when it asked me which of my contact lists I wanted to use and I only selected one? Well, this happens a lot in business. People may have more than one contact list. In my case, I have contacts, which is what we're looking at now, the one that comes with Outlook, and I also have a second contacts folder. Everything went into the second contacts folder, and I'm just choosing not to show you that right now because I have some personal things in there that I would rather not have as part of a video course. I'll go up to the upper right though and close Outlook. And just assure you that with that tool, it very easily will synchronize back and forth so you can work in either place to keep your contacts up to date.